Jadon Sancho to Manchester United. It's a transfer saga that looks like it will never end. So here are 5 things that I think the Englishman should consider before making the switch to Old Trafford. First off, let's talk about money, because finances play a big part in football and we're not going to pull any punches. The Premier League has got a lot of it. I'm not saying he doesn't make adequate money at Borussia Dortmund, but when it comes to new contracts in the future, he's just not going to earn as much as he would at United. The wage structure there is unbelievable, so much so that the likes of Paul Pogba and David De Gea not only are ridiculous earners at Manchester United, but also in the Premier League as well. When it comes to signing on fees, when it comes on to renewals, absolutely everything to do with money for Jadon Sancho will be multiplied numerous times if he were moved to Manchester United. I know there's a lot of talk about loyalty today in football, and well, there's not really much of it. But are you really going to blame Jadon Sancho when a club is going to offer him an extortionate amount of money? The thing is at Dortmund that he fits in within this system and pretty much in the same sort of areas that the rest of them are being paid. And were he to make a massive step up, well, you can assume that 1 or 2 of them wouldn't be so happy. The thing is at United, when he comes in, proves himself to be one of the best players and comes in for a huge transfer fee, the big wage alongside it just kind of suits. It doesn't necessarily suit at Dortmund, where there are other big players who are also going to want that sort of money. What I mean by that is basically that when you come through the ranks like you did at Dortmund to prove yourself to be a good player and you want crazy amounts of money like you would get at Manchester United, there's just no way that Dortmund can offer it and hold on to him. And if they do, then there's going to be loads of others, like I said, who are also going to want major bumps in their contract. But one of the main reasons that I actually think he will move to Manchester United, as harsh as this sounds, he's done everything he can do at Dortmund. Over the last few years, the club have proven that they are just not capable of challenging Bayern Munich for the Bundesliga title. No matter how well they seem to do, they always seem to drop off at the wrong moments, especially this season. And on top of this, they just cannot compete on the European stage. Like, they haven't made the Champions League final since they faced Bayern Munich back at Wembley in 2013, I believe, and they don't look like they're getting anywhere near it at the moment. It's not like in the Bundesliga where they've got to take down Bayern. Originally, they had to take down Bayern in the last few years. Leipzig are coming forward. Gladbach are having strong seasons. There's also Leverkusen as well. Things are getting more difficult, and Dortmund aren't exactly making the step up to run away with Bayern Munich. And the same thing's happening in the Champions League. I'm not saying Manchester United are anywhere closer to a title, certainly in the Champions League. Maybe in the Premier League they are, but there's bigger competition for sure, and United are part of that. Despite the fact that they were knocked out of the Champions League, you'd probably say that with more recruitments, they'd have a better chance of winning it than Dortmund would. Alongside this, Dortmund aren't really taking the next steps to compete on the level with the likes of, like we said, in the Champions League. There's obviously Liverpool, who are going to be in and around there. So are Manchester City, so are Real Madrid, maybe Barcelona if they get back to their best, but there's also Atletico Madrid, who are capable of causing a shock or two, PSG, Leipzig. Dortmund aren't even in with those names at the moment, so I feel like he's achieved all that he can. Yes, I'm sure if he stayed at the club for another decade or so, eventually they might win 1 league title, but it's not really going to happen anytime soon. Alongside this, and this pretty much comes to Dortmund taking the next step, or not as it may seem, and if Sancho were to move to Manchester United, he would have that right wing spot. It is perfect. It is made for him in a 4-3-3 or a 4-2-3-1. He's on the right hand side with the likes of Martial and Rashford covering the centre and the left as well. It's just an unbelievably devastating front three. If they get going on the counter-attack with the speed, dribbling and finishing ability combined of those front three, on form, you may struggle to find a better front three in Europe. I'm not saying it's going to work that simply. This isn't FIFA, but it could do. There is general possibility that with the ability that Manchester United have got, especially being fed from deep from the likes of Pogba and Bruno Fernandes as well, that front three could absolutely be outstanding. Not only this, but when it comes to the calibre of player, United have always got that pull. Like, people say, they're not as big as they used to be, because they're not winning the same titles, but when things go wrong for Manchester United, they can still pull out the stops. They can still say, we're United, we're a massive club, which they are, no matter how much you want to speak against them. They've still got the finances as well. Like, 1 season outside of the Champions League for someone like Dortmund could be quite devastating to their finances and the possibility of attracting players or even keeping players ahead of Champions League clubs. I mean, Manchester United had a season out of the Champions League a couple of years back, and they still managed to attract Paul Pogba and pay Juventus £89 million for him. There are very few clubs in the world that, without the promise of Champions League football, can still pay and attract some of the world's biggest stars, and United are definitely one of them. Having said that though, there is a lot of pressure that comes with this, and this is maybe, just maybe, one of the things that might put Sancho off not only moving to Manchester United, but moving back to England in general, and that's the pressure of playing for such a big club, and pretty much the terrible English media that love to slate new transfers. If Sancho joins, right, we're talking at least 100 million, 110 million euros, something crazy for Sancho. If he comes in and even has a poor first few games, straight away everyone's on his back. There's questions over whether he should be playing, whether he's worth the transfer fee, the fans, the media, everyone's going at him. I mean, look at this season at Kai Havertz and Timo Werner. Like, calling them flops straight off the bat, maybe a little bit harsh, especially after 6 months adjusting to a new league. Sancho wouldn't be adjusting to a new lifestyle because he's English. Having said that, he did not make a Premier League appearance whilst at Manchester City, so maybe there still is a little bit of catching up to do. I highly doubt it because he's shown himself in the Champions League and at the biggest level in the Bundesliga, but you can still understand where I'm coming from. Alongside this, there's also Paul Pogba. Look at what he happened when he moved to Manchester United. Not a transfer window has gone by where his form, his attitude, his ability, and rumours about him leaving have not been called into question. Like, you've got to deal with that every single transfer window. And the fact that Paul Pogba appears to have come out the other side and still been unaffected, certainly at international level, he's still a brilliant footballer, is kudos to his mental ability. Sancho is more than likely going to have to go through the same thing. It's pretty much a rite of passage when you join Manchester United. You get loads of abuse, criticism and hate, and you've kind of got to work your way through it. I'm not saying that's something that should put a big ambitious player like Sancho off, but it's definitely something to consider. And lastly but not least, one of the major factors to consider for any player, and especially for Sancho if he's joining United, is the manager. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, there's two ways to look at this. The first way is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's ability as a coach now. Yes, he hasn't got the best CV in terms of being a top-level footballing manager and having won things. Having said that, the way he seems to be taking United is in a pretty good way forward. Giving chances to lots of young players, he seems to have a set style. Tactically, he gets it spot on in some very big key games, and Jadon Sancho could learn a lot from Solskjaer and from also playing with the other players at Manchester United. On the flip side, this could also work against him when he hasn't got much to prove. It may be easier for him to lose the dressing room without having that authority of being a well-known, big winning manager, although he's a legend at Manchester United, and this could work against him. On the flip side, taking Ole Gunnar Solskjaer out of the equation, let's say Sancho does join because he thinks, you know what, I'm really going to do well under Solskjaer. I think he's a great coach. I think things are going to go splendidly. If he isn't completely certain of a future Manchester United, at the moment he is, but we all know how that can change just within a bad run of form, then what? Then Manchester United, who are notorious for getting rid of their managers in the last few seasons, I mean, that seems to be the way that every club is going these days. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's out and another coach is in. Maybe Sancho doesn't like him. Maybe he doesn't like Sancho. They don't get on, a different style of play. It's quite a gamble when the manager's future isn't 100% certain. It's as good as it's ever been for Solskjaer at Manchester United in terms of having a long-term future at the club. But like I mentioned before, knocked out of Europe. The cup goes embarrassingly, definitely out of the title race. Maybe they don't make Champions League. You just know, as much as you don't want to admit it, that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's role at Manchester United may be under a big bit of threat. And we've seen it happen plenty of times before. New managers go out, other ones come in and they say, hey, Sancho wasn't my idea, I didn't sign him, I don't like him, he's out. Granted, this is very unlikely considering Sancho's standing within the game and his obvious ability, but you just never know. So there you have it, 5 things I think Sancho should consider before he makes that seemingly inevitable move to Manchester United. What do you guys think now? Let me know down below. Check out everything else we've got going on OneFootball, and until next time, I'll see you guys later.